Previously on Dear Sapphy.
World to being harmful to other people. And so I can kind of see that. I would like to think that, one thing I think why I like to say I'm not is because I'm a follower of Yeshua and not just by title. I try to like follow his tenets and live like him and love on people like him. So I would think that just in my nature too, I tend to serve and give to points where it's kind of even I'm in deficit. So but you never know. Like I've been through some stuff, but who knows what everybody has probably a breaking point where if I would continue to go in this cycle with people or was, out on the street or abandoned, who knows if that would flip a switch. But I, I don't know. I'm just like stunned because that little part of me that thought that there might be hope for a person is the more that we have this conversation as far as them changing that it's starting to fade a little bit, and it's also starting to make me feel less foolish about the things that I overlooked when you tell me that even a trained clinician may overlook some of these things. And I do want to get to that because one of the questions that we got from the audience was along those lines of, do you think people can change? But as far as just to get on track to be aware of your time, and those of you on the East Coast, we just got done talking about the first two of what's generally like this narcissistic abuse cycle. The first one is that ideation phase, which is the love bombing. The second one is that devaluation phase, which is that emotional roller coaster. And the reason like it's so confusing is because victims tend to cling to the quote unquote good moments from the ideation phase, hoping that if they just try harder, things will go back to how they were. And it creates this cognitive dissonance where the victim questions their own reality and like continues to stay in this toxic dynamic. And the third sort of phase would be the discard phase. That is that sudden detachment and emotional devastation. And once the narcissistic like loses interest, basically they either get bored, they find a new target, they will like cold-blooded abandon the victim, and it'll be cold, it'll be without remorse. And so some common signs of discarding: sudden ghosting or cutting off communication, like I'm done, you're too much; acting indifferent to the victim's pain, like you're overreacting, move on, stop acting like a victim, those sort of things. And then triangulation, that's immediately moving on to a new partner or a new plaything or whatever. And sometimes they may even flaunt that to the victim or make it clear that they're replaceable. And then the last part of that discard phase is blaming them for the failure of the relationship. If you weren't so needy, this wouldn't have happened. And so the reason why this hurts so much is because that contrast between the love, that first phase, and the cold discard is very traumatizing. The person is left feeling confused, worthless, and desperate for closure, which the narcissist never provides.